It is Wednesday. Welcome to another edition of Puck Time. Hey, look who just decided to tune in. Andrew McInnis. Always great to see him coming on, well prepared, well dressed, well groomed. But it is Wednesday. Uh, Busy card for us tonight. We have Brian Leonard in the hot seat today. Andrew and I are going to talk about the Islanders and the Ducks, a big one tonight. Brian's going to talk about the Vegas Golden Knights against the Red Wings. We'll see if he gets called in to the human resources in Detroit about his one there. He's also going to give us some feedback on the Islanders and Ducks game as well, too. So that'll be an added bonus from him. Leafs and New Jersey, two teams going nowhere, but we got to talk about them because the other games, some inflated lines on those ones. Andrew with some winners, same game parlay, some player props, a pod play gets there yesterday. I talked about the fact that the Edmonton Oilers have averaged 9 goals in their games, their last 6 games at home. Well, 5-4 final, another 9 goals in one of their games. That goes over the total. Pod play hits. We're going to try and get over 8K today, and we're going to then close it off with some promos and stuff. But let's bring in our beloved Andrew McInnis. He's a little tired. I think he stayed up to watch the Anaheim. Sorry, was it the Sharks? The Sharks and the Canadians. Andrew, that game was bumping, man. Like when Montreal tied it up, they were just buzzing. That game, they were just buzzing. I don't know what to tell you, man. They just could not get it. Askarov made a couple of mistakes in goal for San Jose, but what a game.
I wasn't happy, Carm. You stay up till 2 a.m.
You want to pick up at least a point, right?
2 a.m. local time for me, and I see them give up 7 goals. 7 goals. And I'm up till 2 in the morning watching that. So, and the worst part is it's almost like a gut punch because you're down. I think it was 5-2 or 4-2. And they come back and tie the game only to give up 2 more after that. It's almost like you'd rather watch your team lose 5-0 than to make it that dramatic and then end up losing. So I fell asleep listening to a post-game show talking about the loss. So that's how you know it wasn't good.
Wow.
Because I fall asleep listening to a post-game show talking about how bad they looked last night. But
dude, I'm never going to fall asleep listening to a post-game show. One of our beloved leaders and owners of WagerTalk, Johnny Detroit, he knows that I have trouble sleeping at night. Sometimes I get insomnia. He sent me a link, and I bought this thing off of Amazon. It is absolutely the best. It is like a sleep mask, but it has the speakers in your phone, and the speakers on the side where your ears are aren't bulky, so you can, because I sleep on my side, so you can sleep on your side and feel no discomfort, and then it connects to your phone by Bluetooth, of course, and then you can listen to any one of the sleep apps. That's what I'll do. I'm not listening to hockey while I'm trying to fall asleep. I'm listening to like the ocean, the rain. I can't listen to the rain though. You want to know why I can't listen to the rain? Because I'm Italian. When you listen to the rain, it sounds like someone is frying up cutlets. It's just like, and then I get hungry. So it's what it is, man. But I very rarely, Andrew, come on. I talk more about losses than I do about wins, not because I have more losses than wins. I just don't like to brag, but I want to thank everyone who followed along on my 5% play yesterday. The Buffalo Sabres knocking off the Vegas Golden Knights. Up 3-0. It looked like we could be home and cooled, but Vegas responded 3-2 final. It made for a little tightness in the wrong areas of the body. But
great win,
we got the win. My $5 customer appreciation play, I'm pretty peeved about that. I had over 6 in the Tampa game and finished 5-1. So a push there. Thank God John Cooper does what John Cooper does and pulls his goalie down 3 goals with 5 minutes left, because those 4-1 games, Andrew, we talk about all the time.
Yeah.
Any other coach is not pulling his goalie on the road down 4-1 with 5 minutes left. They're just not doing it. But Cooper did it. I got an empty net goal. I'm kind of happy with a push, and we move on.
Yeah, great call by you, Carm. It's not often that you can have a 5% best bet and it also be on your favorite team and a team that's playing so incredibly well. Unless you're the Prez, because I'll take the over on 5% plays on the Maple Leafs that he's had, but we'll save that for a different time. But for you to look at the Buffalo, and I know that I think Brian had them as well, for how they're playing, to just look at the analytics and look at this team. And I said to you the last time we spoke, is this team ever going to stop winning? Can they stop? Can they stop winning, please? All of a sudden, they were a couple months ago, they were nearly last in the conference, in the division, and now they're second wild card spot in the division. It feels like they're not losing at all. So great call by you. And for me, I'll tell you, I told people yesterday I had a $5 play. It was my over of the day. And I always said, hey, who doesn't like betting overs? And we hit it halfway through the game. We hit it at the 10-minute mark of the second period. So that was nice with Dallas and Calgary over 5.5. The funny thing is, I will say, I'm usually a team totals guy. I realistically could have just taken Dallas's team total because they did all the work. I think it was 6-1 final or something, 6-2. But hey, we'll take that. It was a 1-2 day for me, but I was happy to hit the big one for all the customers. So a couple 4% winners in a row, but I did lose with Tampa, and I did lose with the first period over in the Vegas game. We'll get Brian's thoughts on it, but man, Vegas second half of back-to-back today. Now we'll see what they can do, but back-to-back performances where they just looked flat offensively.
Yeah, they did. Mark Stone out of the lineup as well too. Brian's going to have some thoughts coming up very shortly. You and I will probably kick it off with the Islanders and Ducks, and we can bring in Brian for his thoughts as well too on that one. But yeah, Andrew, some crazy games yesterday across the NHL, and then we're trying to follow the news. This is what makes the next 2 or 3 days very tough to handicap, and why I release my plays a little bit later. Or if I'm not worried about like the trade deadline with some teams, but you look at like the Robert Thomas news, out of St. Louis. Will he be moved today? Will they wait until Friday? Well, remains to be seen. There was thoughts he was going to go to the Sabres, but they're asking too much from the Sabres. They want like Owen Power, a second round draft pick, and then another player as well too. I just don't see that happening. The asking price is too high. Bobrovsky, Florida said today they're entertaining calls on Bobrovsky because he's an unrestricted free agent. And Brian and I talked about that in the green room before the show. It's one of those things. He has 16 teams that he will not go to. And I'm going to guess that 7 of them or 8 of them are in Canada. All the Canadian teams. He's not going to come north of the border. The Edmonton Oilers could probably use him because Connor Ingram just looks like a piece of Swiss cheese. Man,
I was going to say, we had to mention the Oilers last night, Carm. We have to. I know we got to get the show going, and some people that watch the show, they like to hear the hockey talk from us, and some people that watch the show, they just like the picks. But we have to talk about the Oilers for a second. You mentioned Connor Ingram. You mentioned Bobrovsky. I think it will be. I always love goalie trades. I just find goalie trades are, I don't know, there's just something more cool about them than a player trade. But I do think Bobrovsky could go to some other team. But man, oh man, this Oilers team, like, I don't want to get canceled by saying this here, and hopefully we'll get on YouTube. We get allowed to say this here, but who needs drugs when you can just watch an Edmonton Oilers game? Like, Edmonton Oilers fans, you I don't know how you sleep at night. I don't know how these fans are able to just go to bed after you don't even need to do anything but watch these games. If you're in a bad mood, if you need some energy, these guys, if they're tired before work, before going to the gym, just toss on an Oilers game. They'll get your heart beating because there wasn't a doubt in my mind when they were down 4-2 that game was still going to be a good one. And it's like, could you imagine if Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid had a good defense? Could you imagine, Carm, if they had a good defense or goalie?
Yeah. Yeah. It's Andrew, I don't know what to say. I mean, they had a couple of decent defensemen. I think that ended up going to the Blues, didn't they? Um, I just don't get it with this team. Uh, they're almost I don't want to call them a carbon copy of the Toronto Maple Leafs, but they're just top heavy. Uh, the Pittsburgh Penguins, as good as they play, have put together a team which, their six defensemen are very good. I like them. They don't need Cale Makar. They don't need Bouchard. They don't. Uh, they have defensemen who are stay at home, who could but also move the puck, and this is why they've been successful this season on a team that's supposed to be aging. You know what I mean? Like Malkin, as we talk about the trade deadline, and I'll end it here real quick with this one. But you look at Malkin, and he's likely going to get moved. That's what they're talking about. So hard to believe that a Pittsburgh team that's playing so well right now would move Malcolm, but he's not part of their plans moving forward. So you move him now. It's so interesting what's going on in Pittsburgh and what's going to happen in Pittsburgh. So we'll see what happens there. But Andrew, the first 6 games yesterday all had 5 of the 6 games all had at least 2 goals in the first period, and 5 of the 6 games went under the total. The Boston game had 3 goals in the first 6 minutes, 2-1 for the Bruins, and the game ended 2-1. It just reminds me of what you said. Sometimes you get the goals in the first period. You could take the first period over and then the full game under. And to your point, you're bang on there. But listen, let's get to it. -110. Let's bring in Brian Leonard. Ducks and the Islanders, -110 both ways. Total sits here at 6.5. Where are you going with this one, Andrew?
Yeah, I'll tell you, Carm, like yesterday with my overplay, I had Dallas second half of back-to-back. And I know that we will say that this stuff is baked into the number. People are already aware of the, who played yesterday, and the odds makers know and stuff. But at the end of the day, there are just these back-to-back spots that work out well for you that you want to jump in on. And I think this is one of them. You look yesterday at the Ducks for playing already. You look at this Islanders team, I think overall that's been playing a lot better offensive hockey than people think. But then when you look at the goaltending situation for today, Dave Riddick has not been good. Big Save Dave has been Small Save Dave because, Carm, he's not saving any shots right now. If you look at the goaltender matchup, it's not very favorable right now. And then you look, of course, over on the Anaheim side, and because they're playing second half of back-to-back, they have to go to Ville Husso. And Lucas Dostal, as we all know, is the much better goaltender. So looking at all the advanced metrics I like to use, look at the last 3 games, Ville Husso near the bottom for a lot of stuff. Expected goals against per game, up towards 3.82 or higher, which is not good. So goaltending wise, as it is, makes me like the over. Now, offensive output, the Islanders do struggle a little bit more offensively when they are on the road. However, Anaheim ticks it up a lot more when they're at home. However, it is second half of back-to-back for them. For the New York Islanders, it's front half of back-to-back for them. So for people wondering why Sorokin will not be between the pipes tonight, they're preparing for the matchup tomorrow. It's interesting, Carm. We've seen coaches do this in the past where they decide that we want to put our better goaltender when our team is tired instead of having our better goaltender out there when the team is fresh and they're feeling good. So I like the over here. I think the Islanders are a sneaky team offensively right now. They have been playing in some high-scoring games. It's hard to talk anybody out of any exciting talk when it comes to the Anaheim Ducks right now and what they're able to do. And one thing that I said to you yesterday with Buster was, this team, it kind of will come back to bite them a bit that they give up early goals. Like if you look at the games out of the break for the Ducks, they had to come back in a handful of games, right? Like they weren't necessarily winning the games the whole way. So that can cost you. So the total is 6.5 for a reason, but give me the over in this game here, Carm.
All right, yeah, I tend to agree with you in some, very good points from you, Andrew. As far as like the goaltending matchups and looking forward to like games that are tomorrow for them as well too. The Ducks got buried. The dad joke is they got buried under an avalanche yesterday, but I like a player prop. This is where
Oh.
we're reversed because normally it would be me taking the over under and you with a player prop. First of all, here's like the easiest $100 you would ever make in your life, and that is but you have to wait till the end of the season. Matthew Schaefer to win the Calder Trophy. Now you have to put $8,000 down to win 100, but they're giving you a free $100. I'm never going to make that bet. The guy is just unbelievable. 20 goals. He is minus 8,000 to win the Calder. Is unbelievable. I'm going to take him to score tonight on Ville Husso. He is going to light up Ville. Ville, don't you lose my number. I think it's Ville, but we'll go with Ville. Plus 390, Matthew Schaefer to score tonight. Anytime goal. How do you like them apples? He's got 20 goals this year.
He has been unbelievable. Carm, it's hard to say because you know what? They were a Nathan McKinnon goal away. They were a Devon Toews goal away. They were a 5-on-3 goal away. But man, they could have used him on the Canada Olympic team. They definitely could have used it. And before I go on a rant about that, let's bring in Mr. BL, who had a pretty good day with us yesterday on the show. And before he gets to me about this, I'll just tell you right now, Brian, you got me with the Minnesota game, the nice underdog winner by you. And I believe you had Buffalo as well. So in our own ways, I think it's a day that the three of us could be happy yesterday, hitting some plays that we were pretty confident in.
Yeah, I swept the board for clients yesterday, and we won our free play here. Worked out exactly the way we draw it up. We talked about it, so that'll work out well. Are you sure of the? Has it been Sorokin's not playing tonight, or is that just a feeling? Did they announced it
on RotoWire right now? It's showing confirmed for Riddick.
Okay, I'm on a different site. It's not probable Sorokin, so okay.
Yeah. All right. And it's the expected is Ville Husso, but it shows Riddick confirmed. Now, I know with like RotoWire, one of the ones that you normally have up on the screen when we're doing these shows, that on a couple of occasions throughout the season, I've seen a goalie being confirmed and then changed a little later. So, but all indications are that given RotoWire, we'll look at the goalie post and some of the other ones a little later, but that he is tonight's starter.
Because on goalie post right now, it's got Sorokin probable. But it is early and anything can happen as the day goes on. I did want to touch on this game myself. I don't have much of an opinion in the game, although I will say that the Islanders have had the last 2 days off, and so they've got the scheduling advantage here. Third game of 4 days for Anaheim. But what I wanted to point out was these are two teams right now that I think are really live. In fact, I think this Islanders team is gone under the wire of most people on the season. In fact, I was at the Sportsbook the other day, and I was looking over the futures, and they had the Islanders at 75-1 to win the championship. With the goaltending that they have with the great goaltender, I think this is a team, if you're looking to play a long shot, and I'm not talking about a 10-1 or whatever, but if you want to put a couple shekels, as they say, on a long shot, I wouldn't think that the Islanders would be a team that a lot of people would bet, which is why we're getting 75-1. I haven't shopped it around to see anywhere else, but this has turned into a really good hockey team this year. And anybody in the East from one down, I mean, I talked about yesterday how Tampa, I think, is the best team, but because Carolina's suffered so much in the playoffs, this is really all open in the East. And I think the Islanders got it at 75-1. I think it's worthy a bet.
All right. I like it, Bri. The game in itself is interesting because the Islanders are just playing so well. The Ducks were playing extremely well before but they caught a very good Avalanche team, and you can't take penalties to the Avalanche, especially in the first period, because if once they score on you, they just continue to score. Cale Makar just seems to be rounding into form right now, and like even him for like the Norris Trophy. Up until a couple of weeks ago, it was Werenski that was the favorite to win the Norris Trophy, and now it's Cale Makar at plus 115, I think it is, on DK. So speaking of odds on DK, I'm going to mention it again. The Vegas Golden Knights are now down to plus 1,300 to miss the playoffs. So I did bet it on Vegas to miss the playoffs. I'm hoping to cash a ticket on there because I will be cashing that ticket by the time you arrive in Toronto for the baseball game in April. So I'll have a few extra bucks to spend on you there.
Well, rooting against my hockey team and then my baseball team will be in Toronto when I'm up there. So yeah, it's pretty fitting. But yeah, it's very interesting. Yesterday we were on here talking about it, and Vegas is terrible in the first period, and that's why I used them as my free play. But if you've watched them all along, they fall behind and then they come back, and that's exactly what they did yesterday. They looked really good in the second and third period. They were the better team, I thought, in the second and third period. But Vegas is a team playing in the second of a back-to-back, and surprisingly, being a veteran team, they're actually 5-2 in the second of a back-to-back on the season. But if you go back to when I came on after the break, and I said, looking at how the teams set up, if you're playing in conference, those games are much more important than the out-of-conference games. They played the Kings, and of course, Vegas decided to give all the Olympians the time off. They somehow beat the Kings in that game. So they got the most important game. So I said that was the most important game. They got them at a plus price, actually, a pretty sizable plus price. And then they've gone on the road against the Eastern Conference, and I said we would fade them in those games. They've lost them all. So why go against something that has worked so well for us as of late? I do want to go against Vegas in this game. Vegas second game in back-to-back, third game in 4 days. Detroit, a little bit younger team fighting for the playoffs there, and they're more rested than Vegas. And if you take a look, like when I break down games, a team in the second of a back-to-back against a team that's had the time off, that's got to be worth like 25 cents in the line. So basically, you're looking at something would be a pick'em. This situation, there's no way I could bet Vegas is a pick'em the way they're playing right now. So I like Detroit here, and I would have no problem playing Detroit in the first period once again. But let's go for the full game in this one. Is this Golden Knights team Stone? Without Stone yesterday, even as well as Vegas was able to skate. And there was, if you watch that game, it was very up and down the entire time. And that's the way Buffalo wanted to play because it's being the younger team. And Vegas did it. And Vegas looked really good in that regard. But the passing was not very sharp without Stone in that game. And I talked about it. They're not the same team without Stone. Without his ability, he's like a point guard in the NHL. And for his ability on both offense and defense to be able to get those pucks and put them where they need to be, I really don't think he's going to play here. He didn't play yesterday. Why bring him back now? Give him another day off. So I would expect him not to play. They did make a little trade yesterday. They brought in somebody from Nashville. He may make the lineup. So you're also getting a guy who's never played with them before, being on the fourth string or the fourth listing. So we'll see how it goes. But they, according to the site I was just talking about, they think Kira Schmidt's coming back, but I can't believe that. He didn't look good, and I'm sure they'd like to get him back there, but Hill hasn't looked good either, so they need to get Hill back in there. And Vegas is even worse with Hill right now, so I like Detroit in this game.
So a question for both you guys. So I don't want to be the sky is falling on the Vegas Golden Knights. But if they are to lose tonight, so they go 0-4 on the East Coast, they return home and they play Minnesota and the Edmonton Oilers, and then make a quick trip to Dallas, and then have to come home to face Pittsburgh, I think 2 days later. can that the first 3 games, the Minnesota, the Edmonton, and Dallas, if they were to lose tonight, could it get out of hand and this 4-game losing streak turn into 7 games?
It could be. Those are teams that are very good. And right after they play Pittsburgh, they play Chicago, but then they got Buffalo again, and they got Utah, who's playing really good hockey right now. So, yeah, they've got a really tough schedule this month. The only bad teams really that they're playing, if you consider, I don't know if any, Vancouver's bad. They play them on the 30th, but they also play Chicago. They play Chicago and Nashville and Washington on the next 3 Saturdays. Those teams have not been playing that great, but yeah, they've got a lot of good teams they got to play against. Oilers twice, Utah, Dallas twice, Buffalo again. So this is a tough schedule for them. We'll see how it goes, but yeah, right now it's not as cut and dry as it was just 2 weeks ago for Vegas.
And it's funny how depth works, because you need your depth the most when you actually are missing your key players. But it seemed like the depth was showing up the most when it didn't even need to for Vegas. Like some of these other guys were scoring when it was like already a 4-1 game, and they'd make it 5-1 or 6, It's like, hey, we need you guys to score these goals now. This is when we need you the most, and then they're not showing up as much. So I think, guys, one thing that I might have miscalculated was that when the Olympics were ended, I was looking to fade teams with a ton of Olympians for the first game or 2. But the funny thing is, it seems like it's almost like those first games back for them, they were okay. But then there's been a couple games after that where some of these teams with Olympians haven't looked great overall. Like if you look at all the guys that were at the Olympics that played extremely well, I mean, I guess besides like Celebrini and stuff, but like I'll speak for my Montreal Canadiens. Nick Suzuki's a guy that I don't usually have a bad thing to say about. He didn't look great last night. Uri Slafkovsky has not looked great. Slafkovsky was named to the top 5 all-Olympic team. And you look at the Golden Knights, Mark Stone with the LTIR, Jack Eichel just partied for 4 straight days, Noah Hannafin, some of these guys, right? Like it's interesting because we thought that NHL general managers would not be happy during the tournament. But guys, what if they're not happy after the tournament? Because these players, they're not in the same mindset they maybe were before. Because let's be real here. If you're Jack Eichel, you're on top of the world for a couple days. And now you go back to Vegas, right? And all of a sudden your team is losing. Carm, it's a little bit tougher. So if you're a GM right now and you're watching your best players not look that great, and they just played well for the Olympics, if I was the owner or a GM of a team, I'd be a bit discouraged.
I think you have to be. Listen, every year we get to this point, Andrew, before the trade deadline, where we get into like uncharted waters, and opinions just go from like, your narrative is here, and then all of a sudden you see what is happening in the news, and your narrative kind of goes off to the side, and you're hoping, shit, I hope nobody remembers what I said on Monday. I can't remember what I said about a half hour ago. So, Andrew, I just don't know. It is, you're making some good points. You talk about like the depth, and you started off with the depth and the Knights. It is, it's one thing that they during their successful years and playoff runs, and this is still I want to call them a new franchise because they haven't been in the league 20 plus years or 40, 50 plus years like the Buffalo Sabres have. But management has always seemed to have made the right calls with this Vegas Golden Knights team. And I think they have to look at what is happening right now and what is going to happen over the next 5 or 6 days with their schedule and say, we need to make some changes because the boat has a little bit of a leak in it. We don't want it to turn into like multiple leaks that we can't stop. So I think the Vegas Golden Knights are going to be active somehow on this at this trade deadline, Brian. And I still believe if it's an upper body injury with Mark Stone, and the reports that I saw earlier today was it's his arm or something, but it would not surprise me if He is on the long-term injury reserve, and they bring in some players, or they make some kind of a deal in which a team, whether it's a two-team deal or a three-team deal, where someone eats up all of the cap space.
They've made a few in the press here. A lot of people looking to get Marchessault back. If they take all that money, most of the money that Nashville has paid him, they'd love to have him back, I'm sure. But I do want to point out, I know they rested him when they played LA. None of the guys that went to the Olympics has scored a goal for Vegas since they've been back. And like I was saying, they just don't have the depth, especially offensively. Doriev and Barbashev are the two guys that they look for offensively, and they've been very good. And they were good in every game they played so far since they've been back. But they just don't have enough scoring without the guys that went to the Olympics. And if those guys are off on something, there were a lot of open goals last night, a lot of open ice, and normally they would have a lot of success in that regard. It didn't happen last night. So yeah, it's I'm not going to. I agree that Vegas is probably obviously going to turn it around a little bit, but I don't want to stand in front of that train right now. Take advantage of it. They're still being graded in the betting marketplace that they're a good team. And once again, to add to what we talked about yesterday, they're now 5-26 against teams that are in playoff contention. So not good. And by the way, Detroit has not had a home game since January. So this is going to be a crazy night in Detroit. This is a team, they're real happy to see their team in contention. And I expect the home advantage to be really strong tonight.
The only thing
who knew that Johnny Detroit would have to get rid of his season tickets before the team became an elite competitor. So
just ask the Detroit Lions.
Get him to buy some Cleveland Browns season tickets for me.
Yeah, just ask the Detroit Lions how they feel about that.
Right.
I will say,
I just
think Cam Talbot, guys, is a big factor. So I feel like if there's ever a game for them to get goals, Brian, it could be today for Vegas. So I feel like if you like Detroit, you like the over. I'm going to throw that out there. I think I never was a big goalie guy, but this year I've looked more into the goalie stuff, and I feel like there is a drop off from Gibson to Talbot. So we'll see what happens. Bad time for Detroit to have a goaltender get injured. That's for sure. So we'll see. If they can't score goals on Cam Talbot, then Vegas is really in some trouble now. But what do you have to promote for us, Brian?
Yeah, since we've halfway through the show or whatever, I do have a play in college basketball. It's the tournament time. We won a game yesterday. We went 2-0 yesterday overall in hockey and basketball. I do have a play up right now. It starts in a half an hour, 25 minutes from now. So if you want to get in on the early action, you can pick that play up now. Still working on today's card. It'll be later, just like Carmine was saying. I want to make sure who the goalies are. I want to make sure who's playing. So we'll be putting our plays out later on today. But once again, and I gave Buster some problem yesterday, so we both have the same kind of special going. If you're looking for extended service, Buster's coming off a great day. I had the good day yesterday. You can get either one of our packages right now, our baseball and our hockey for the rest of the season. Those packages are up right now. And take a look at that. You can save a lot of money in that regard. And we also have the buy 3, get 3 free. A lot of great time to save some money here on WagerTalk. And I appreciate being on the show again, guys, and good luck to you.
Love having you on, Brian, as always, man. And yes, Buster's probably listening from the beach there in Mexico. And I can't believe these guys are pimping baseball, but you have a great season each and every year. When Buster's on, I will promote him as well too. But we appreciate you coming on. Kill it the rest of the NHL season, and of course, baseball, which is right around the corner.
Thank you. Good luck, guys.
All right, Brian. Take care, brother.
Andrew, I got some news for you.
Right.
It's not breaking news, but
what do you have for me?
But how would you like this deal to happen? Are you ready for it? Are you prepared for it?
I'm ready.
Okay. It is not official. It's in the works. Jordan Binnington to the Montreal Canadiens.
I've heard about that. I think he should go to the Edmonton Oilers.
He's got 16 teams on his no move clause, but apparently the Canadians are one team he would go to.
Yeah,
So
he's a Canadian guy. Go to a Canadian team. Hey, you know
look at
how
you
I
getting
feel
all
about Jordan
excited, man.
Binnington.
Look at you. I just saw like a spring in your step.
You know how I feel about Jordan Binnington. We need goaltending on the team, but at the end of the day, though, what would he cost for a guy that's not having a great season? Is my question. Really, is what he would cost.
I think the Blues are ready to move on from a lot of players. I think they've got to get into not a total rebuild, but a rebuild of sorts. And anytime you're looking to get rid of Robert Thomas, Binnington, and a couple other players, then you're not only just thinking about the rest of this year, which is done, but you're also thinking about next year. You're not going to make the playoffs, but let's retool and put ourselves in a position that 2 years from now, we're competitive and then we can pick up some players and deal from a position of strength, right? So we'll see.
Yeah, the thing is, I think that like St. Louis right now is asking for too much, but somebody replied back to me on Twitter with a good point saying, Robert Thomas has years left on his contract, so they have to ask for a lot because it's a good deal for that guy. Like all the stuff that they were asking for the Buffalo Sabres, that's too much. And for Montreal, they want Michael Hage, they want Caden Gooley, they want picks, they want a little bit too much. So it's interesting to see. But I mean, I think the Habs need goaltending. They want a number one guy. Binnington could come and be. But one thing I learned from last night watching the Habs is that I would prefer them to trade for a defenseman or goaltending than a forward. They lost 7-5, Carm. I don't think the worry I have with this Habs team right now is forwards anymore, as much as it is on the back end, right? Maybe they could get a bottom six forward, a tougher guy for the playoffs, but a bit, Thomas would be awesome. But I think for my team, I think that I'm more worried about keeping the puck out of their net and not as much the scoring with Robert Thomas. So it's funny, like all kinds of fans on Twitter last night, Carm, because the whole day people were talking about Robert Thomas, right? And then watching them give up 7 goals, people are like, oh, you know what? I don't even care about a forward anymore. Give me a defense.
Yeah. No, listen, I get it. And with some of these goalies, we saw with like Binnington, wasn't a great season for him leading up to the Olympics, but he was very good in the Olympics because you're now surrounded by a core of players who are very good. The St. Louis Blues aren't very good. So going to Montreal, there's a team of players there that are competing. Marty St. Louis has got this team playing each and every night. These guys were buzzing in that third period, and I thought for sure they were going to win that game when they erased that 3-goal deficit. So having a goalie come into that type of a franchise, that type of a team where the team in front of you is playing well, you just need to do your job is similar to, I'm not saying it's the exact same thing as the Olympics, but it's very similar to it. The mood is so much different, not only on the ice, but in the dressing room as well too. So we'll see if that happens. But we have to talk about two teams that I just love it. They're just not going to make the playoffs. It brings such joy to my heart. I have very few things I get to enjoy, guys. The older you get, you know what I mean? It's like you can't have sugar. You can't have cholesterol, eggs, too much cholesterol. Andrew, I'm loving it. This is like being able to sit down with a tub of Nutella and just eat it with a spoon. The Toronto Maple Leafs are going to miss the playoffs. Andrew, they are plus 102 tonight. New Jersey Devils are minus 122. Total sits here at 5.5. How are you breaking this one down?
Oh, man, Carm. I mean, I had someone comment yesterday on our video say, this guy seriously took the Leafs. And then some other guy commented at having my back say, hey, at least it went to a shootout. But I told myself, never again will I take this team. I just can't stomach it. I can't do it. The only time offensively this Maple Leafs team really looks good is when they're on the power play. That's the only time they look good, Carm. 37% power play right now for the Maple Leafs, which could help them out. But listen to this. Last 10 games, scoring chances against 21.7 per game. I mean, this team just absolutely bleeding chances. As far as New Jersey, they're controlling the puck. It's New Jersey or pass for me. We could play the game of, when are the Leafs going to win again? Are we going to try and pick the night that the Maple Leafs win again? But it's New Jersey or pass for me. They're playing at home. They get the last change. They can shut down this Maple Leafs team. I'm convinced this. I don't think the Maple Leafs can win a low-scoring game, but yet that's the only type of games they're playing in right now. They have to win by scoring a couple of goals, because if it goes low-scoring, I think the Devils are the better team. So it's Devils or pass, because Carm, I believe this with the odds makers correcting the numbers, and you've been doing this a long time and you're good with the odds and the math. I believe if you took the opponent the Leafs play the rest of the season on the money line for 1 unit a day, I think you still end up making money. And I think that genuinely the books are not going to adjust enough. And maybe it's because people like the Maple Leafs. Maybe it's because they're still getting money. But would you say it's fair to say that for the rest of the season, the Maple Leafs are still going to lose money because the books are not going to adjust to how bad they really are?
Because they're always going to give them credit for guys like Austin Matthews, William Nylander, that these guys are going to get them points. I believe that the Leafs likely have to be a seller prior to the trade deadline. Who they're going to move, I would not know. Bobby McMahon, maybe, because I don't think they want to re-sign him next season. So I think also they're not dealing from a position of strength, because teams know that the Leafs are done and dusted for the season, and there's some big contracts on that team. This is a team, Andrew, that they've played 4 games post-Olympic break, and they've averaged 1.75 goals per game. This is supposed to be a high-flying team, and they're not even averaging 2 goals per game. In 4 games they played, they've scored a total of 7 goals. Lost all 4 games, picked up 1 point in an OT loss to the Philadelphia Flyers on home ice, and they have the worst road record in the Eastern Conference. They've only picked up 25 points on the road this season. Absolutely miserable team right now. Like, I would lean to the under here. The under's 5.5, and this would, during normal times, this would probably be a 6. It might even be a 6.5 that's shaded to the under with Vig. It's 5.5. It's because these teams just aren't scoring goals. Now, it doesn't mean that they're not going to go out and light it up tonight, because it's a meaningless game for both teams. But I am not. If I had to put my hard-earned money on these teams to score goals and go over the total, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
It'd be under or nothing, kind of like you're in New Jersey or nothing. I just don't know. And we'll see what happens in this game. But I've harped on this pretty much the whole season, that this team just has no heart, Andrew. They played against the Ottawa Senators on home ice. That was on Saturday night. And I talked about how I liked the over in that game, and it finished 5-2. They only got into it and fought when the score was done. It's 5-2. And all of a sudden, they're throwing around bodies and they're throwing punches and what have you. Why not try and inspire your team to play a little bit better in the second period? They used to have that. Where they had a guy out who could go out there and thing. That it's changed for the Leafs. They're going to finish last in the Atlantic. I think Florida will pass them, and they're going to finish second last to the New York Rangers in the standings. An absolute disaster for the hockey mecca of the world, Andrew? Is that what they call it?
Well, the funny thing is too, Carm, is their pick is top 5 protected. So how awesome would it be if they end up with like the 6th or 7th pick, right? Because if they get a top 5 pick, they get to keep it. But if it's 6th or 7th pick, guess who gets their first round pick? The Boston Bruins. So if they finish anywhere besides the bottom 5, they do not even get to keep that draft pick.
Yeah, and they're not going to finish bottom 5, because you look at the Western Conference, and I think it's the Western Conference that has a bunch of teams that are on like 50 points. I mean, let me have a quick look at it. But just to mention it to you guys, you can look at the Western Conference, and you have Vancouver on 43 points. You have St. Louis on 53. You have Calgary on 55. You have Chicago on 56. And you have the Winnipeg Jets on 58. There's 5 teams right there that have less than 60 points. And then you have the New York Rangers who have 54 points. The Leafs currently sit at 64. So they're what, 7th right now, Andrew, and about 6 points ahead of the 6th place team. So they're going to lose their pick.
They are screwed.
My heart bleeds. Anyways, with that said, Andrew, give us some prop play winners, please.
All right. So yesterday was not a great day with the guys scoring goals, I'll be honest. And you know what's the worst part, Carm, is that lately I've been looking at, I'm checking the board. I'm looking at some of the picks that I released for the show, and every single guy had like 2 points. They all had like a great game. They just didn't score like 2 or 3 shots, 1 or 2 points. And like how much, how good the prices are on some of these guys if you bet them to get 2 points. Anyway, we're back in action. This is plus 713. So a pretty good price here. Let's rock with Carmine's guy and the future Calder Trophy winner, Matthew Schaefer, 3+ shots on goal. The Anaheim Ducks give up a lot of shots, but they also give up a lot of shots specifically against defensemen. Matthew Schaefer, the over 1.5 shots, heavily juiced. Over 2.5 shots on goal, you get a good plus price. Bo Horvat, anytime point for him. Let's go to the Vegas Golden Knights, Detroit Red Wings. We're going to go Lucas Raymond, 1 point, and Pavel Dorofeyev, 1 point. 1 point from 2 players on each team, or 1 player on each team, I should say. Raymond and Dorofeyev to each get a point. Schaefer shots and Horvat on his points. Carm, this is actually a pretty good price at plus 713. And for what it's worth, guys, I will be playing these as 2 individuals, of course. The plus 208 and the plus 164. And we'll get all 4 together as well. Not a bad looking graphic either, I'd say here, Carm. Just saying, not a bad looking graphic. But we'll take that here. Plus 713.
I am impressed, my friend. Let's get some winners from you. I would love to cash some additional tickets. I would also love to cash today's pod play. So I will preface this. This pod play is actually one of my client plays as well too. So I will say that. But it is not it is attached to the package I have loaded up today, which is another game where I have a best bet 4% play on, and then I added this one as a bonus play to that package as well too. So you guys are getting it here free, but I'd still love you to go over to WagerTalk and purchase that 4%er. I am going to take the Seattle Kraken. Yes, release the Kraken, Andrew. Seattle minus 140. The line seems to be moving in their direction, so it's a little higher at the moment. Let me see if I can get that up on the screen. There we go. Minus 140. We're at 79.35. We're about to cross over that $8,000 range, starting with 5K. The Kraken, two miserable games on the road post-Olympic break. They come home. They play 2 very good games, including beating the Carolina Hurricanes last time out 2-1. Now they get a St. Louis team coming to town. We don't know if this team is going to even be shorthanded tonight. If they move some players between now and game time, they could very well be short in this game. But they're also a team that is 1-10 their last 11 games on the road. St. Louis is. There's no way you could get me to bet St. Louis on the road in this spot. Give me the Seattle Kraken. 3 points, holding on to the last playoff spot. 3 points out of the top spot in the Pacific and the number 2 seed overall. And they're holding the 8th spot right now. So a big win for them tonight. Minus 140. Let's get the money.
That's the thing with this Kraken team, Carm. Pretenders or contenders. We're going to find out. Maybe this game might not be the game we find out if they're contenders. But we're going to find out what type of team they are moving forward, because, this is a team that I think is better than people give them credit for. If this team was wearing a New York Rangers jersey, would people be giving them more credit? I think they probably would be.
And that's a thing, Andrew. You know what I mean? Like they're right there. So at home, they're very good, and they're on this homestand right now. So they've won 2 games. The last one being the important one because Carolina was playing some very good hockey. They get St. Louis tonight. Then they have a couple days off, and the Ottawa Senators come to town. But at least they get some rest in that spot, which is a good thing, and they're at home. Then they're off a couple days, and they get the Nashville Predators still in Seattle. So it's very favorable for them. And then 2 days later, they play their final game of this homestand, and they play the Colorado Avalanche. That's going to be a toughie. But these 3 games prior to facing Colorado, the Blues, the Ottawa Senators, the Nashville Predators, should be games. Ottawa's probably the toughest of those 3, where they pick up points and move up the standings. They're 3 points behind the Vegas Golden Knights with a shot. And then after the Colorado one, and just looking at some of their games on the schedule, they're playing non-playoff teams. The Vancouver Canucks, the Florida Panthers. That game is in Seattle as well too. They got Nashville again. They got Columbus. They got Florida again. They got Tampa a couple of times. So I think it's a favorable schedule for the Seattle Kraken to maintain at the very least a top 8 spot, but also move up the Pacific. And who knows, at the end of the day, the Edmonton Oilers with their goaltending, the Anaheim Ducks, who knows what is going to happen in that Pacific. It is up for grabs. They're 3 points out of the Pacific lead right now. You just never know. Release the Kraken.
Release the Kraken. Let's see how they do, Carm. It's nice to see new teams in the mix, as I've been saying to you. Nice to see new teams in the mix, that's for sure. So we got a prop parlay. We got a POD. We got some breakdowns. We got Brian Leonard on the show with us. We still have that fantastic deal. And I'll tell you, Carm, you're fresh off that big winner yesterday. And I know we don't want to just write home about one winner because you're having a fantastic run. The hockey run's been great for me since the Olympics. Just a fantastic deal here, guys. Anybody interested, buy 3, get 3 free. Today, I do not have my packages up so far. I will have a package up, at least one for NHL after the show. Past couple of days, I've been good about getting them up early, but I wanted to wait for some information, as I'm sure you guys can understand. Buy 3, get 3 free. 6 days for just $69. I know we have the long-term packages, but if any of you guys are interested in getting the next 6 days for the price of 3, this is the way to do it. No promo code needed. For Carmine, WT.buzz/CB. For myself, WT.buzz/AM. We've got multiple sports. We've got, between the two of us, we've got soccer, hockey, UFC, college basketball. We've got so much stuff going on that you guys don't want to just buy one package, one play. You know, it's great to do it. You buy Carmine's 5%, you buy my 4% yesterday, you're feeling pretty good. You buy 6 days, for the price of 3, it's a pretty damn good deal here, Carm.
It is. At the very least, you get 6 days to judge someone instead of just, 1 day. So, you look at the NHL, a couple winners on Monday, a couple 4% plays, winner yesterday with the 5% play. The customer appreciation play ended in a push. The total landed on a 6 in the Minnesota and Tampa game, but we're just plowing forward. Sometimes my plays are going to come out at noon, 1 o'clock. Again, much like Andrew says, it is confirming sometimes, especially these next 2 or 3 days, guys, with the trade deadline. The worst thing you could do is release a play early in the morning, and then that number goes against you, and clients are getting the worst of it. 1 o'clock, plays are up by then. The morning skates are normally done, and we can go off of who the goalies are as well too. One play in soccer, which goes this afternoon at around 2:30, 3 o'clock in the English Premier League. So we'll look to keep a strong run going in soccer. Number 1 in 2026 at WagerTalk with soccer plays. And I'm gearing up, man. The World Cup straight ahead. So that cup-to-cup special is still available. Get the rest of the NHL season and the playoffs, and then the World Cup. Looking forward to it. So with that said, Andrew, who do we have on tomorrow? I think we have the Prez on tomorrow.
Don't tell them that. We want them to tune in. We want them to watch. But Prez is doing really well. He's on a great roll, so make sure you guys tune in for that. Check it out.
Yeah.
Should be a really fun show. And, of course, tomorrow there's a lot more games. We'll try and do a little bit of a Q&A for tomorrow, so if you guys drop your questions, a couple games we'll break down a lot more, but then we'll do a little Q&A to touch on all kinds of the games. Should be a great week, guys. Should be a great week, and I'll tell you what, I would not be shocked, especially Thursday and especially Friday, if we have some trades dropped while we're live on Puck Time. But that will do it for today's show, today's Puck Time. Brian Leonard, Carmine Bianco, Andrew McInnis, thanks for watching. Find all of our work, all of our best bets at WagerTalk.com. We'll see you guys next time.